My name is Richard Patrick. Give you a short resume. In the business, that relates to what I do now. Hey, good morning, gentlemen. That's right. Laser web, karaoke. Okay, my name is Rich Patrick again, 66 years old. Been in IT since 1971 when I took computer programming in high school, when they had the punch cards going. Learned Fortran, learned COBOL, learned Assembler 86, and things I thought I'd never use. But it was the foundation for a whole computer career. Because what had happened was right after high school, I joined the Navy and was stationed down at NATTC Memphis, and they needed somebody to put in an ARPANET network, which was unheard of. It was the first ARPANET network ever installed in the Navy. So I had the technical ability to help them out on a large scale and did it in a record amount of time because nobody had ever done it before. So anyway, my regular job there was teaching aviation electronics, and I enjoyed it and so on and so forth. Got out of the service and decided to, do what I thought I was best at, some sort of sales, which I did, worked for some various companies. Ended up getting a job with Computerland. Some of you may have heard that before, that place. And this is in Long Island, New York, where companies that were in Long Island serviced a lot of companies in Manhattan, because that's where the money was. So I worked in Manhattan, I worked at Depository Trust, I worked for Chase, I worked in all big places, including both World Trade Centers. Okay, and had friends there, and was a soccer coach and coached many people who lost their lives in 9/11. So 9/11 has a particular significance for me. All right, so let me speed this up. I only have half an hour. It's getting boring already. I can see it on the look on your face. Got a job with Standard Microsystems, whose chips are in almost every computer made at the time. We were specialists in networking. I was on a development team and developed the first real computer switch, where we could produce full throughput. Instead of it being divided up by the hub, and you have 10 computers plugged into it, you'd only get a met per. Okay, so a switch would propagate full bandwidth out of each one. And that's when Ethernet moved into 100 MIPS at the same time. So we can now provide networking capability of 100 MIPS per port. Amazing. I did high-end work for Robert Half, and was a consultant for many of the biggest companies in the United States. I was the guy that got called when no one else could fix it. I know I look like a regular old bug, but I'm certified. I have more letters after my name than are in the alphabet, for real. I have a bachelor's of science and certified Microsoft MCSE plus I+E, plus a few other things that I don't recall right now. Anyway, after SMC and after consulting with Robert Half, I got a job, or they would sell you on the job, okay? Anyway, Swiss Air needed a guy to migrate their entire 40,000 node network in North America from ARPANET to Ethernet, and I got called to spec the job. They gave, I'm not going to get into a lot of detail, but it was when, like I mentioned previously, just shortly a little while ago, that Ethernet just went from 10 MIPS to 100 MIPS. And they were on ARPANET, which is even slower than 10 MIPS, on a token ring network. And I was moving their entire network to Ethernet, which I did in about a month and a half, so they hired me. So I was systems admin for Swiss Air for a number of years, 18, and retired as CIO, project manager. I worked in every major international airport in the United States. Worked some very big projects for NASA and some others. Anyway, I decided to retire after getting laid off and prior to, a year after 9/11 happened, because the airline slowed down tremendously. and Zurich took over our entire network, which was fine. I literally turned our network off in the United States. It was picked up by Zurich. Anyway, I got into this because I wanted to be at home. I had 4 children and have a business that was based on residual income. And because I liked helping people, I called people that were contractors and home improvement guys and things like that to give them good service, give them top line service with a website and SEO, which is what I do, what I'm really good at, for guys in the business, regular guys like yourselves. And I really enjoyed it because I'd give them a veritable smorgasbord of products all included in one price, which again is what I do, a little selfless plug there. But what I'm here to do today is to talk to you guys about some of the truths and fallacies and lies that are involved in our business, along with some of the shystery things that occur. I'll start with, let's say, email. Email is, and you guys probably know, some of you get it on your phone, some of you have a client of some sort, Thunderbird, or even AOL, or something through your network, and spam, and also attacks, which are becoming very prevalent today. I get asked a lot, how can you prevent this stuff? And you really can't. What you can do is educate yourself on how you can spot an email that's facetious before you even open it up. And rule number 1, if in the subject line it has bad pronunciation or underscores and no spaces after a comma, chances are that's a spoofed email, okay? You can also hover over it, and most clients down on the left-hand side, if you hover over it, will display like where it came from, or if there's any links in your preview. You should have your email set up to do a preview, okay? Like, in other words, give you a little bit of information about the email and what it's about. But if you hover over a link, and it looks like it comes from Chase, but you hover over a link and it says some .ru, or that's not from Chase, okay? Subject lines also will include what I call call to action, or really knee-jerk, the solicitation to have you knee-jerk into something, react before, and open this thing up and take care of this before you know now that you've opened up 200 ports on your computer by then, and are already downloading to your computer or uploading to your computer malicious stuff. And this is how it happened. That's how it happened to the DNC when they got hacked. Somebody opened up an email just by opening it up. Anyway, so that's some of the ways you can tell. And I've been studying cybersecurity for a year and a half, and before that became a thing, okay? And to answer the question in a comical way is, if you want to be safe in terms of your communication with companies, friends, or anybody, use the U.S. Postal Mail. I know I tossed that right out of my world, but that's really what it's come to. It's that prevalent now, it's that dangerous, and believe me when I tell you, it's dangerous now out there, okay? And they will use China specifically uses teams that will build a whole profile on a business. And they just a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit here. So getting back to security, change your passwords on a monthly basis. Get a password manager like Keeper or LogMeIn or something like that. Don't use the Windows password or the browser password guides, because they can hack those. They have your passwords, and it'll only be a matter of time before they can resolve or figure out what's in that list. So change your passwords on a monthly basis if you want to stay safe. Okay, are we done yet? Let's talk about, well, what would you guys like to talk about? I mean, I bring a wealth of knowledge and stuff to the table. What would you like, anybody have any avenues they want to go into? Cats?
You beat me to it.
I own a punch
Talk
face.
about the website stuff.
Okay.
I mean, that's what you're here to do, right?
Yeah, well, whatever I want to do, whatever you guys want to do. What would you like to know specifically about website? Security, SEO?
How's the SEO work?
Okay, SEO, search engine optimization, is a collection of methods, technologies, and other parameters to do to a website, both on page and off page. And if you don't know what off page is, that's the code that you see. People don't see that unless they view a site, they look at the code, and you can find SEO components in there. Some of the most similar, most popular ones that everybody talks about are meta tags, your title, your description, the author. There's a few of them, and there's most importantly a keywords one. And I can always tell how sophisticated any programmer is by looking at that, file, but just by itself. Because the rule is all lowercase, always. Comma delimited, which means a comma after each keyword, but no space after the comma. This is in code, so it's allowed. Okay, so if I go in there and look at a keywords thing and it has spaces, that to me, that developer is not as sophisticated as he thinks he is. Because Google, by way of their edicts, have pointed that out early on in the game. Anyway.
Can you say that, I'm sorry, no space after a comma, and all lowercase?
All lowercase,
Yeah.
in the keywords meta tag. Okay, that's a big thing. See, here's how SEO really works in a very short explanation. Okay, and I really go by Google's rules because everybody else, I'm sorry, it doesn't matter. Google states that essentially, I'll break it down into layman's language. It's like every website starts with 100. Like when we were in school, you used to do a test. Pass your test up to the next guy, and you go up to the front guy, and the teacher would come down the row and pick up the tests. Right? You'd watch her. Sit at her desk, and you'd try to figure out, well, that's my test she's doing. And you start with 100, and you get marks off. Google works the same way. They look at your site, they index your site, the time it takes to go through your site. And I want to bring up, that's why I don't like WordPress, because I can write 16 lines of code, and yet in WordPress it's considerably more, at least 10 times the amount of code, because everything's a module. Okay. Personally, I don't like WordPress. It's a blogger's tool. It's not what I consider to be a real programming language. A lot of people use it today. They like it. I don't. And it's just the way I am. But Google looks at everything very carefully, and they count things that that you have the proper tags. Your meta tags, for one. Your title. It's got to be can only be a certain length. When you go over, you get points off. Your description is what comes up under a URL in a SERP, or search engine result page. What you see when you do a query in Google and you get a page. Of course, everybody wants to be on that first page, but you have a number of things, the non-ad or non-sponsored items. The description is what's right under your link, okay? And that link is your title, by the way, generally. And then what's underneath it is your description, which is a meta tag, okay? And that's only so big. And a little tip, put your phone number in there, because some people don't want to go to your website. They want to get to the place, oh, here's the phone number, call them right up. Hey, how you doing? You know, and that can only be so long. Your keywords, again, can only be so many characters in totality. I don't have that in my mind right now, because I take Prevagen now, but you can find it on the web very easily. So there's some of the basics, but what a lot of people overlook is the right amount of inclusion of your keywords in your website. Now your home page is by far the most important page, and you want to have a keyword density between only 15 and 18% on your home page. okay? And if you look at a lot of home pages, you'll notice, at least on mine, you have what's called headers, H1 and H2 and an H3 tag. Name of the business, where you are, H2, H3, maybe a service area. They're the three most important components of a home page because it tells Google who you are, again, that matches your title, it matches your description, and matches your keyword file, okay? The more these correlate, the better your website's gonna score with Google. Plus, Google likes to present to their queries or users high-quality results for what you search for. That's their business. They can sell it to advertisers. So when you're good at it, and your website's good at it, and it's fast because it doesn't have thousands of lines of code, but hundreds, so they can index it quickly, you don't get all those marks off all these things wrong. Okay? And you get a higher placement in Google. In other words, first page. 99% of all our clients, and I'll just say this, people always say, well, how many clients do you have, Rich? Well over 200. And I've been doing it 20 years, and I've only lost 2 or 3 clients. One died, another guy got cancer, but I left his website up, and 1 or 2 guys retired. But it's important to do a little research on this, because a lot of people spend a lot of money on this stuff, and they don't get any results. They're on the 37th page. And I'm going to tell you something. If you're on any other pages besides 1 or 2, didn't you have a joke about that second page? You told me?
Not me, but if you're on the second page, you're not seen by too many people.
No. Most all of us only look on the first page. Okay, so that's the golden thing that we all go for. And the thing I'm really good at is SEO. As a matter of fact, I'm only one of a handful of really certified, internationally certified SEO engineers in the world.
So what's the scam with, like,
Those
Google people call me all the time, you know?
This gentleman right here is just helping me out, and I appreciate it. First of all, anybody who calls you, if you have a website, they have many different ways of finding you, but Google, people, you guys all get all kinds of calls all the time. You're hounded by, hi, I'm a Google specialist, hi, I'm Google, Google doesn't call anybody. They never have, and they never will. They'll call you if you start paying them money and you deal with somebody there, but they don't call anybody. So first thing, if you get a call from somebody who says they're a local Google specialist or Google this or that or blah, 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 they're lying. I'm not going to say the next couple of things.
It's cool, we've heard it.
Well, I'm being filmed. So the point being, yeah, you really got to watch out for that hang up, block the number. Google does not call you.
What's the difference, like, can some of those people that call you, hey, I'm an SEO specialist,
Can they
of course
do
they
anything
want
for you?
more money, but.
Really good point. Here's another,
What
thank
do you
you.
get for that?
John, thank you very much. That's your name, right? John, thank you very much for saying that.
Yeah.
Let me point this out. This is crucial, okay? Google does not only call you. The people who call do not have a valuable service. Because, please write this down if you're taking notes. No agency of any sort, any SEO agency, any specialist anywhere, cannot do anything for your site as far as SEO unless they have access to the files. So you're going to give somebody.
They need to be able to change it,
They can't change anything. What they can do is spam you to other search engines that don't matter. Somebody in Turkey, search engine there, in China or Russia or South America. So what you got are listings, and you can fool Google for maybe a couple of days that you're important because you're coming up on all these places. But it goes away because they figure out that their AI has become really good, Google's. So you can't fool them anymore. That's why people call you on the phone. Worse are the emails. Oh, I went to your website and it's broke and this and that. When they're soliciting a knee-jerk reaction from you, they're trying to find fools. So never, ever respond to any of that stuff, particularly if it's an email. Don't open it up, get rid of it, particularly if you don't know who it is. Is it really gonna help you? No. You need a guy like me. And you know how many guys like me there are? Very few. I know I'm putting my big crown on my head. The deal is, but I've been doing this 20 years. I didn't realize how many shysters there are out there. I'm embarrassed to be in an industry that has so much stuff in it like this. There are very few people who can really do anything for your website without having complete, unfettered access to your files. Other than that, they can't do a damn thing except submit your website to a search engine that doesn't matter. So I've had guys call me up, I'm paying $1,000 a month, and I only see little results. What's going on? I'm like, you're getting ripped off. I actually had to help the guy and tell him what to do to get off, because they'll sign you to a 3-year contract. That's why I don't have a contract. If I don't help you, you don't even have to pay me. Anyway, did you have a question, sir?
Yes, I did. I Googled my business name, and when it came
Your
up,
business name, okay.
and it said unsecured.
Yes, good question. SSL certificates, secure socket layer, SSL. What that is a protocol that works within TCP/IP that encrypts the communication between the server and the user, okay? It's what you see if you look in the URL line or address line in your browser. It says HTTPS, Hypertext Transport Protocol Secure, that's the S, okay? That means it's safer to do business online or communicate. If you're a home inspector, if you're a contractor, if you're a radon tester, if you're even a radon mitigator, I would think that the most things you're going to be doing or your clients are going to be doing is filling out a form and sending it to you. I mean, can we think here in this small group of anything else? Are you doing online business? Maybe some guys may be doing PayPal, but that's pretty good. I'd stay with that. You're not doing financial transactions on your website, so do you really need SSL? Yes, and I'll tell you why. Because it's a ranking flag for Google. It's another thing you need that Google says you must have, because they're trying
Do
to,
you provide that, or how do you solve that?
by getting an SSL certificate. We provide a free, real SS certificate, a kimono SSL certificate with every website. It's something we just do automatically.
And I ran into another situation.
Sure.
Where I Googled my name, and it looked just like what it always did. But down at the bottom, it was a competitor's email address or website address.
In your listing,
Yeah.
Wow.
that's very unusual. Okay, that can only be a couple of things. The first thing that comes to mind, well, it was in your little area, or was it you're here, and this email was somehow below it
Yeah.
in another description, or was another
No,
listing?
no, it was right underneath where,
Was it part of your listing?
yes.
Okay, then, I mean, quickly, without seeing it myself, it would look like they hijacked you, or they did a code injection into your website.
They didn't change my website.
No, into the result, okay? In other words, again, let's get back to your meta tags. That information there is in, what meta tag? The description meta tag. I think you understand this stuff. I can tell by what you asked. So they changed, it appears that they changed your description in the code of your website, the off page. You have your title, you have your description, you have your keywords. Absolutely required. So they got into it and inserted their
Is
telephone
that
number.
because this site isn't secure, they were able to get into it?
Yeah, yeah.
So
It doesn't,
whoever they
it's
got-
less secure if you don't have a SSL certificate, because again, it encrypts the communication between the end user, whoever it is, and the server that's serving it. And I want to talk about servers. Go ahead.
And if you don't have that SSL, that gives them more of a potential
Yes.
or a
It's
greater opportunity to do
Absolutely,
something
to
like
do
that.
something like that.
Okay.
Terrific. Let's talk about hosting. Does anybody know what hosting is?
Where's that, Steve?
Hosting is the process of putting your website files on a server that's going to serve them to the internet, okay? There's a couple of different kinds of hosting. Boy, this subject, boy, man, I could go hours on this one.
Yeah, speed it up.
I know, I'm done. Most hosting today is shared hosting. Whether you want to know it or not, you can find out if you're shared hosting by, like, say, doing a standard who is on the internet. And you'll be taken to a page which shows how long the domain name's been there, who owns it. You get a lot of information like that from that query. One thing you can also get, and they're trimming this now, but not all places, but it will show you how many other websites are resident on that server with yours. The average number, this is going to surprise some of you may already know, but if you're like a Network Solutions or GoDaddy Guy or one of these other places like that, the average amount of other sites on your server is about 450,000. The problem with that, as far as SEO, jumping back to another contributing factor to SEO, is when you sit on a server or in the same IP pool as a wear site, a porn site, a hate site, a political site even, there's a lot of bad sites out there, isn't there? If you're on a server with one, Google states, again, they've not rescinded this or modified it in years, you share the reputation, the collective reputation on that server with all the other people in the pool. These guys are peeing in the pool, these guys are something else in the pool.
How do you control that? By going
Oh, there's
smaller?
only one way. You move to a dedicated server, which is what we offer. Of course we have that. I know it's the best. We run and we lease our own dedicated servers. We have backups. We're in Buffalo and we're in Las Vegas. We also back the servers up weekly and monthly. I also have the #1 server management company in the world backing us up automatically if something goes down. LaserWeb Sites, as a company, is the only company I know of, and I'm pretty well out there and looked around. For 20 years since we started, we've never gone down. 100% uptime. Uptime. They sort of tripped over that last word. And that's amazing. Not an hour. We went down and we let clients know, about half an hour we went down in the middle of the night, just for some operational updates that are required. Other than that, everything's seamless. But again, let me get back to the topic. Most people sit on a server with other sites, and that is a serious detrimental ranking factor as far as Google's concerned. Did I jump too far off topic? Did I answer? Anybody else have a question? Just the Q&A part of it.
It's a little bit kind of off topic, but kind of going back to what he
Sure.
said. We recently acquired a new company, bought them out, and they have their own website, they have their own brand name.
So you inherited their reputation.
Well, in your opinion, do you think it would be more beneficial to completely eliminate their website or still keep their, www and then have that automatically transition to our website? Do you have?
Point it to another one. Yeah, you're not going to fool Google at all.
Yeah.
You're always, whatever you're connected to,
Right.
the reputation comes along with it. So if they had a good reputation, now when I talk reputation, I'm not talking about how good they were to the public and all that. I'm talking about the reputation that Google considers, being good or bad. And that is, was there any, and here's something that really gets people. Even the email activity within an organization, they know, and they have it. And they, most importantly, consider it. So if you had one guy in the organization that was doing porn and stuff, boy, that really hurt you. And how do you know that? Well, there's a number of ways of searching for the reputation of a domain name and getting some information on it. How long it's been around, does it have any bad flags, is it known for this, was there any scamming done, was there any hacking on there, or through it? So if it comes up clean, you're lucky.
So if they're linked in with GoDaddy or somebody else that has these, it might be better to just completely eliminate.
When you said GoDaddy, again, you're on a server with 450,000, 500,000. I've seen them over 500,000. So yeah, and chances are you've been, some of the worst sites in the world, man.
Right.
And you could be, if you're in the same IP, it's being right next to them.
Yeah.
It's by Google, it's the same thing. Because you got the same IP address.
What if you moved it?
I'm sorry?
What if you moved it? What if you take the address, the www, and move it to a different server?
Okay, move the address.
Yeah, just take.
Okay, well, Google
just
still knows that that IP though
disconnect it
resolves
from
down,
GoDaddy.
though it resolves to a different name.
Previously was attached.
No, I
Just
mean, disconnect, go, so it's still, they still care, right? So if you
They still
disconnect
care.
it from GoDaddy and move it over,
Well,
can you
it
start to
depends.
rebuild the reputation?
Well, let's clarify, because I'm sorry, but I'm in like super fast mode and my brain's already starting to hit a wall.
So she's asking if you take that name
Yes,
from, so you already have,
Where it
take that
is.
website, move it to your server,
okay.
can you restart that reputation or eliminate that
Now,
old
even if you
address?
brought it, let's say, to our dedicated
Yeah.
service, thank you, thank you. Most of that reputation will follow with it and will eventually die out. But it takes longer, just like in real life, to rebuild your reputation.
Yeah.
Yeah, it takes
I get what
so,
you're saying.
so your choice, what I would recommend to
If
clients,
they're looking up that company, we want it to still come to us.
start fresh. You're so far ahead.
But you gotta balance that with whether, I mean, if the company that you've taken over has a client base that is familiar and
Here's the-
comfortable.
here's-
and
here's what I say.
then you
I
gotta
say-
balance that somehow.
Then we're
The
linked
ideal
to that
name
versus what we are.
There, but with DNS pointed to the new IP address or name.
So the DNS pointing is not as impactful as owning the
Correct.
website, is what you're
As
saying.
putting it out with the same name.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, cool. My name's Christina.
Christina, thank you for the question. Very good question. Anything else? Did we do a half?
You're off the hook, yeah.
Right. Now we're gonna do
Now-
karaoke, ladies with karaoke. I'm gonna open up with Let Me Clear My Throat by DJ Poole.
And I'm gonna take you out in the hallway.
Look, folks,
Brilliant.
I'm brand new to this whole thing. I didn't have a whole room. Next time I'm sure I will. Thank you for coming. Any other last questions?
No, thank you. Again.
Thank you very much. And at the Laser Websites booth, you're welcome to stop by. I'll answer
No, like I said,
any
you
and all
did
your
the first 4
questions.
years free.
I'm here to help. I love helping.
Yesterday.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Just kidding.
So starting new,